I'm going to talk about what makes Quizizz very, very powerful and very, very useful. And this is an advanced feature, but once you master it, it is really easy. I converted all my other tests that I've gotten over the years before I got Quizizz, and I created them, put them into Excel spreadsheets, and uploaded them into Quizizz. Incredibly easy. I mean, you have to be comfortable with the Excel. But a lot of times, many people have tests that are in a text format. Like if you print it, have one that you printed off and you gave the kids. I took many of these and then I formatted them in the format that Quizizz will accept them. So I'm going to go ahead and do a really simple one. And then I'm also going to show you how this will really, instead of entering each individual question, very, very slow process. So if you want to give a really large test. So to give you an example of the size of my test that I gave this last year for my CSP6 class, period 6 CS final, I gave them 260 questions. And what I find is I didn't even care if they went and tried to look up the answers, because if they didn't study it and practice my Quizizz, they wouldn't know the answer. So that by the time they went and tried to Google it, they would run out of time. So I allowed them, because on average, kids who had studied the Quizizz took between 15 and 20 seconds to answer the question each. So that was one of the benefits of using the reports. So probably 95% of my students completed the exam with plenty, because we had 90 minutes. So, and they were averaging about 17 seconds per question. So, and what I did, the other thing too, is you notice this was for period 6. So my master copy, my computer science final, which is for all of my students, I went and I just loaded it. And then many times I may have them practice this one. I will duplicate questions, modify the order of the answers. I also do fill in the blanks. So they don't know which one of these 339 questions they have. So what I do is I trim them down and I give different ones for each period. So it doesn't benefit a student who had me in second period to tell his buddy in sixth period what's on the test, even if he took pictures of it. I mean, which he couldn't do in the class. I mean, he could when he was at home, when we had that. So I upload this for their practice as much as they want. And then this is the one that they'll take. And so my other period, my period 4 exam had 260 different questions. And once I show you how this works, you will realize, oh my goodness, this is just incredible. I can create different tests for each period. And it's going to be relatively simple. So I'm going to go ahead and create a really simple one. Another thing that I do is I come up with all of my questions. I have one big master test exam, and then I will break it up by weeks. So I give them 10 to 15 multiple choice questions. I let them practice it. You know, my objective is not to give them a poor grade. My objective is for them to master it. So they get it, and I may use, recycle some of them in later weeks. So I can take this master one and then I can delete the questions out of it. So I say, oh, I know that these are the ones for the first week, and these are the ones for the second week, and these are one of the third weeks. And in this particular presentation, I'm going to show you how fast I can do this. So the first thing I need to do is go to create Quizizz. The quiz name is Computer Science. Well, I'm going to go ahead and call this Klein ISD Info. And we're just going to call it English. So here I can manually add each one of my questions that I'd shown you earlier. But if I want to import from a spreadsheet, I'll click on Import on a Spreadsheet. And then, the first thing that comes to people's mind is, well, what's this template you're talking about, Mr. Cusack? So I click on the Download Template. And then down here is the Download Template. So then I come down here, I show it in my folder. And I'm going to go ahead and rename it to something that's pertinent. So we're just going to call this Klein ISD info. So I've already got the header. So I'm going to open this up. And then it's basically got the headers on top. So it's got examples of each one of these. So I am just going to use, I'm going to have a multiple choice. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to put it down here, Control V. Oh, I've got to enable editing. I forgot about that. So the question I've got is, who is the instructor for this class? Last name only. So multiple choice, Cusack, Smith, Jones, Kirk, Davis. So right here, I'm going to go ahead and indicate my first choice is 1. The 20 seconds or 30 seconds is just a timer. You really don't get punished for running out of time. You know, it's a game. So the next thing I do is I'm going to copy this. What school district do you work for? I'll say one word. Multiple choice. And Klein, Spring. Conroe, Aldi, Houston. So this is that. So then I'm going to go ahead and take these questions again, and you will start seeing and then these, I'm going to change these to fill in the blanks. So I'm going to copy this. And then to so it gives me an option of doing all these. One of the things that I always do, I don't want to keep formulas in here or anything like that. I'll go ahead and I will duplicate. Well, I'll go ahead and get rid of these examples. me go ahead and do that again. Copy. Paste. I'm just going to paste the values. Do this again. Copy. So as you can see, it does not have the commands in here. So I go ahead and I get rid of my examples. So it has to match one of these. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. So I've got the upload here. Then I say save. So I've got my answers. Publish. Let's go ahead and just use this. English, grades 9th, grades K through 12. I usually make them private because I don't want to see the show the kids what's internally in the document, but I can still give that to them. So I'm going to go ahead and assign this. One of the things I do, I did say I wanted to point out the differences between the paid and unpaid version. You've got a limit of about a week of how far out you can go. I really don't have, with my unpaid version, with my paid version, I can go out months. I can also, if I want to use it from year to year, I say no deadline at all. So that means it basically will go on forever. There's a couple of these options. That was my only reason why I got the paid version. It gives me a lot of flexibility there. Then also you can have the, I would be careful about, I don't think you have the adaptive, you don't, in the unpaid, you don't have adaptive question bank mode. And what that does is the questions will generate a unique set of questions every time to prevent copying and rote learning. So that's another feature. You'll see that next to that. And then I always want to put shuffle questions. So I want to go ahead and show them the correct answer after each. Then I want to go ahead and assign. Then at this point right here, then I've got this code right here. So this is the code that I will give my students. And I will usually put it in my website or put it in Schoology, depending on my class. So a lot of times I'll just copy. I'm going to go ahead and copy here just to show you. Okay. Start game. Who is the instructor of this class? Last name only, Cusack. So I got that correct. Who's the instructor for this class? So this one, I can spell it. So I go up correct. What school district do you work for? So if I say Conroe, it tells me the correct one. If I misspell Conroe, or if I've got to spell it exactly. So at this point right here, you finished it. So what do I see on my end? I will go back to my reports. Questions. I find out who got what wrong. Since there's only one person of me who asked it, it's only going to show the particular characteristics of me. So it won't tell me, you know, when you have 100 students and you find out that certain questions you really don't get right. So this one, we created one, we assigned it. So let's go ahead and let's go ahead and upload some bigger ones. So I'm going to go ahead and call this Computer Science CS Week 1. Computers. So I say import from spreadsheet. And I just want to take you a look at it. Has the same top part. Okay, that never changes. And then I've got, in this particular case, I've got 12 questions. Or I shouldn't say 12. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in here. So let's see what happens when I go drop it in here. Save. Here's all my questions. Publish. I'm going to say week 1. So this one, I just want to go out. Let me see, click here. Just give them to the end of the week. Once I've set my defaults, that. So I say shuffle the questions, shuffle the answers. So I paste it to the students. A basic unit of information used to compute a general purpose programming language that is class-based, object-oriented, although not a pure OO language, designed to have a few implementation dependencies as possible. Java. A unit of digital information that most commonly consists of 8 bits representing a binary number. Byte. I want to say unknown, and it's going to be called a set. So if I put Java as lowercase, even though that wasn't it, that's going to be correct because I put it in there as a choice. A specialized tree-based data structure, a heap, is an abstract data type that can store unique values without any particular order. It's a set. So I'm going to, in my selection byte, so I answered that wrong. So I answered that one wrong. So I'm all done. So we can go back, go check on how the students are doing. So since I was the only one answering it, this is going to be either 100% or 0%. So you'll get a distribution on the grades. So when I'm doing my final, I'm going to go ahead and create my final, CS final. And what will happen is I don't know if I found a limit on how many questions I can ask. US Final 2022. Next. Import. So I've got over 300 questions here. So what you will find, and it will take time, I'm going to go ahead and end this before it does. So as I drag it over here, it will show you all of these 339 questions. If you do get an error, then you just need to double check to make sure that you're following the format. That's probably one of the things that get a lot of new teachers is if you don't, like for instance in the column for time, if I put a letter in just one of these, it's going to give you an error, and it's not very forgiving. So I'm adding 339 questions. If you do 100 questions, if you did 50 questions, 25 questions, it would take you a lot harder, in my opinion, to add them individually in the spreadsheet. If you're going to do a 10-page or 10-line quiz, that would be fine. But it really saved me a ton of time when I was trying to convert all of my old tests, and I had them in text formats, or if you have some that are in different formats, if you can export them to a CSV or an Excel spreadsheet. So as you can see, this is taking a long time, and what will happen is they'll pop up and says, do you want to wait? So this will probably take 15 minutes at 339 questions to load it. But when it's done, then you've got all of these questions. And then you can also, deleting them is a lot faster. So let's say you have one and you didn't duplicate it in Excel and it's got 30 questions. Then you can go into Quizizz and delete it. So I hope you found this useful. I'm going to go ahead and stop my video, and I'll let you know in class how long it actually took for this. So here it asks you page unresponsive. You can wait for it and to become responsive to exit the page. And I would go ahead and say wait. If you have more than 70 questions, it's going to make you wait.